Thank you. And welcome to our March 5th, 2024 council meeting of Depoe today. A little rocker out here. Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Councilor Beasley?
Here.
Councilor Bedingfield? Here. Councilor King?
Here.
Councilor Reck? Councilor Reck's on mute, but I heard her. Here. Okay. Councilor Sovereign? Here. Mayor Short?
Yes.
And Councilor Watson?
Here.
Okay, thank you. And I guess I did take my glasses. Shoot, just had cataract surgery. It was going
Oh,
so
really?
well. Yeah, it's been really good, but the little tiny ones I can't. We have a consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept it as presented?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved to second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I do have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you. And this has to do with purchases of supplies for
Okay.
our emergency
Oh,
efforts.
yes, we've been
Okay.
getting on that.
I saw that.
Yes.
Want to thank you all for your work, and I thought it was kind of cute that, you took that idea of mine and ran with it. I think that's really great, because I like dealing with our local vendors whenever we can.
Absolutely.
Thank
That
you.
was
So
your
thank you
suggestion.
very much. But one of my questions is about an inventory list. I guess I could, if I may ask Kim this. Kim, do we have an inventory list of the things that we're buying and
Absolutely, it's gonna be posted in each cache of what we have in each cache. And it will be cross-checked and worked on. So yes, there will be an inventory list.
And that's something that we can see at the council.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
My concern, another concern is how and where the supplies are being stored, and is it in a controlled environment? Because as we know, anything stored that even in the cash boxes can quickly deteriorate.
And Paul can help us on that.
We're gonna put a dehumidifier in there, and hopefully that'll be.
They're in the caches right now.
And I have a question on that. I don't know, help me with this, Lindsay, I was gonna talk to you about this, where we have you take them out of the box and put it in this plastic and it flats somehow. I don't remember what that's called,
Oh, the, what is it called? The
shrinkage or.
shrink bags,
But,
they're the term.
but that's something that, would definitely save us a lot of room, and it would, save, because they would be sealed in plastic, you wouldn't have any humidity issues. So
These
that's
are all
something
items
we
that
have.
are on the cash list, supplies that are being purchased. Do you have a question about that?
No, I just would like to see an inventory list.
We can
of what
do
we
that
have.
for you. Absolutely.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
I also have a question, and this would go to Kim, about how we're buying this stuff. And that, and the question is, why aren't we using the city credit card or city checks to buy this stuff?
We used the city check to buy the one for $7,000, but I think that at the point that we were sure had to use your credit card was for a different reason.
Right, because it was a one-day sale. And we went down and we wiped them out.
It was
And I
on
used my
Saturday.
credit card. And we didn't have staff available to use, so I just used my
But
credit
staff
card.
knew about this.
Right, absolutely. They knew
Okay.
all about it.
Okay, because you are our chief financial officer here.
Yeah, she had called me in advance to let me know she was going to be there.
Excellent,
Absolutely.
thank you. Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our deputy is not here this evening. Did you have a report for emergency preparedness this
Yeah,
evening?
I do, actually. We had, in our workshop, Lindsay had mentioned a property that was behind the tide pool. And checked that out, and it's a Bowen Properties, and I've left a message for a gentleman by the name of Jared Bowen, who's the agent for that. Haven't heard from him. Hopefully he'll call us back and let us know about the availability and the price on that particular property. And our committee's working on website information. We want to give Kim information on what we think should be on our website as well as our Facebook page. And so that's gonna be our project for next meeting, which is on the 25th of March. And Chris Berry, who's on our committee, she lives in Littleville Cove, and she invited me to come to a Littleville Cove event, which will be tomorrow, and the subject is shelter-in-place safety tips. I thought that'd be great, and so I'll be reporting on that after the meeting. And that's it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Joyce? Alrighty, I see we've got Harbor here. Any update from Harbor?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Our last meeting was on February 28th, that was last week, and, we looked at, getting an update from Haiti, which we're hoping to go on a timeline, because we know how important that's gonna be when we have to start shuttling boats and stuff like that around, so he might have an update later or the
I,
next meeting.
I'm more than willing to share what I know right now, if you like. Well, we're trying to schedule the first initial meeting, but it looks like it's gonna be scheduled to next week, because Advanced American, however, I asked B&D if they had a concern about waiting another week, but because they've already done their submittals, they're doing their submittals. Next meeting, we're just meeting the principals and stuff like that, so they're not concerned about it. But they are going to push them to get a schedule.
I think that'll be really crucial, great for everybody who got it. So we're still working on, the dock leases, and we'll hope to get back to you by probably the maybe first of May, but, we just wanna, really look it through and, maybe remeasure the frontage foot again, and which property everybody is actually leasing, because some of that has changed, docks have gotten shorter and so forth. So, yeah, we'll get back to that, and we are going to be doing a tour of the fish plant, I think with other council people, so as soon as we get a date set for that, looking forward. Okay, we're looking forward to that, see what kind of shape it's in. So just the other things, I would just note that, we're talking about, upcoming budget coming up, and just kind of getting an idea of some needs for the harbor, and kind of do a priority list for it. Just to let you know, our next meeting will be at 6:30 in March, because, we switch over from a 3 o'clock meeting to 6:30, so.
Oh, okay,
That's the final report for now.
perfect.
We're working hard.
I know you are. Any questions for Liz?
Question.
Yes.
Liz, thank you for the work you're doing. Did I read that you were doing a study of other harbors and the rates they charge?
Yeah, we have. We've been talking to several different,
These would be rates for everything, moorage and,
yeah. We've done that. Right now, we're concentrating on leases, to see what other leases are done.
when you say leases, you mean the property leases?
Correct. And again, Depoe Bay is in a unique place because we don't, we lease out just the square footage of the property, the water rights for that property. We don't, other places are renting out buildings that are go along with that lease, so.
So are you looking at the building that we own down there that's owned by Molfino or rented by Molfino now? And all of the property around, like where Tradewinds is and what about the Joan E property? I've heard there's a dispute over that,
As far as I know, we're just doing the carry.
The Joni property is a parking lot?
No.
I'm talking about the dock property in the water, where the docks are.
I mean,
It's the same situation
Well,
as
there's
Trade's.
Vader.
There's Vader, I'm not unaware of a Joni property on
I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your interpretation of that?
That's Carrie's.
How can she be I'm just curious, how can, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but how can somebody occupy the water that is Depoe Bay and not pay a fee for putting their docks on?
So she will have to pay a fee just like everyone else.
Well, I think there's some kind of an agreement when she bought the property, and it has nothing to do with Depoe Bay, but I'm not sure how.
Yeah,
It has
you know, I
nothing to do
don't,
with
I
Depoe
don't know
Bay.
the exact
Yeah.
thing
I'm
about
gonna look into it.
Yeah, the good news is you're
Yeah,
cleaning house and getting all the
yes.
questions answered.
it. We
That's
are
awesome.
working hard, thank you.
And Fran had a question also, Fran.
Hey, Fran.
Hi, Liz. Thank you for, it was a little bit hard to hear you. So, the, you're looking into the docks, the, over the water space and lease space. And you said you're comparing that to other ports. Is that the methodology you'll use to calculate the, R rates?
No, I don't believe so. Because most of those, almost 99% of them have property, actually have physical structures that go in along with the lease. What we've done is gone back to 1976, and we'll be presenting that to you, but came up with a chart that would show a rate of increase, so where we'd be at present time. And Carla came up with it, and it's awesome. It works. It'll get us going, it'll get some, we can get the leases all up to date, get the contracts up, and so we just want to wait till we have it all together and present it to you.
Good idea.
Your Honor,
Wait, I just wanted to thank you, Liz, to answer my question and for that hard work.
Thank you, Frank.
thank you, and sorry for the interruption, but I would just like to reemphasize that we need to determine where our property ends and theirs begins.
That's all being calculated, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
working on all of that.
There was a survey done a long time ago, but it's been pointed out to me that that survey, the surveyor said it wasn't greatly accurate.
So we need to survey the harbor.
Well, we might need to again.
Well, let's see, but I think we're pretty close.
Well, we can probably figure it out without
I
doing
think
that, so, and this was old.
But, yeah, we're making progress, good progress.
Yes, thank you so much, I appreciate it. I don't see anyone for planning, parks or salmon, okay.
I think you got the planning liaison report, right? Did that come in this one, the planning liaison report? Okay.
There wasn't one.
Okay.
Are there any public comments? Okay, okay, do you wanna update us on the White property, Tim?
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute there. I do have a public comment. This is CA.
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. So Reservoir Access, just want to give an update. We submitted pricing over the weekend. Kim has that. Paul is reviewing it. It's just a pretty simple pricing exercise. We connected to the existing manhole on the south side, ran up the hill about 100 feet, and then straight across over to Stanley Street with another piece of pipe there. And that's all that estimate included. So Kim has that. Paul's reviewing it. We're open for questions if there are any. Surveyor was out on the property here yesterday, and luckily enough, we were able to connect with him, and there was still a miscommunication on what property is involved in the property line adjustment. And we got him over on the west side of the creek. He was going to survey the entire east side of the creek until we talked to him. So I let Kim know that, and we've got it corrected. So his work was able to be accomplished, and he was able to survey the correct side of the creek. And that's
And
my update.
When I get to my part, I will jump in. I just presented you the price quote, which is also being reviewed by our city engineer. Our public works folks, when Brady gets back, I'll have to look at it because obviously there were no drawings attached to it, so they want to be able to make sure they understand exactly what work is included in that.
The drawing that we're talking about right now, would be one pencil line going up the hill, a circle, and a pencil line going over until I have the actual civil engineered drawings, which are about 2 weeks out. The pricing isn't going to change. That's the pricing we submitted. It's the pricing we've submitted. The drawings, when we hand them in, will be an engineered stamped set of drawings that will actually show the elevations. That's, you've got the links, you've got all the material counts Nothing's gonna change except maybe for the depth of the excavation, Kim. So
Okay.
the estimate is accurate.
Okay. You don't have to convince me, we have to convince Public Works.
Yeah. Any other updates?
Well, I have a question here on this.
We're not discussing.
This is public comment, right?
Yes, it is public comment and
Okay, thank you.
we're not gonna be discussing. these
Okay,
quotes.
okay,
We're
thank
gonna
you,
do
thank you, I appreciate it, yeah.
another meeting for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alrighty, was there any other update, Kim, besides?
No.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, we're doing the second reading and adoption of the ordinance 346-24, and ordinance repealing number 206, establishing the Depoe Bay Parks Commission and replacing with ordinance 346-24, creating a new charter, or new chapter 32.07 and amending ordinance 290. Is there a motion to adopt, reading the ordinance 346-24 by title only?
I will make that motion.
Alrighty, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay, everybody's seconding, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to read ordinance 346-24 by title only. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So I'll open for discussion. Is there any other discussion on this ordinance?
I would like to just, Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, Council Rec and Council Watson, in your emails, I sent an updated Exhibit A. What happened is when Carter was putting the packet together for me, she grabbed the PDF, not the Word document, and the Word document had the changes that came out of it, which was that discussion on the salmon bake and all of that information. So I provided you the new copies tonight. That just, the only change was to the part on page, I think it's page 5 of the document, that simply added the members of the community to volunteer individually at these events with the specific events. So that was the only change that hadn't already been made. Gina, you have your hand raised.
Hi, yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I did hear that Councillor Watson seconded that last proposal, but can you tell me who moved that, please?
Yes, Councilor Sovereign.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Is there a motion to accept? Oh, where'd it go? Ordinance 346-24.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
It's been moved to second to accept ordinance number 346-24. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, thank you. I had a request from our city planner. Kim went over this with me, and it seems all within the realm of the good work that he performs for us, and he's a valuable asset. So it would be my suggestion to go forward with the 4% increase in compensation as requested. Is there any discussion on his request? Everybody's had a chance to review this.
Move to approve a 4% cost of living increase and amendment 1 to the agreement for city planner services for the city with Harold Christopher Kitcox.
Oh, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the 4% cost of living increases as requested. Any discussion on the motion?
Discussion, please. First, let me preface this by saying I agree with you. I think our city planner is doing exceptional work, really good work. But I'm kind of shocked by the lack of detail in this presentation. Typically, I don't ever recall seeing this. We get some kind of report about the business that has been conducted over the course of the year and what the planner is doing.
don't you get the monthly reports that come out, that come with
They are very cursory, Mayor, just very cursory. For example, how many building permits, how many have been issued, some kind of historical perspective. I only bring this up because I've seen this kind of discussion before, and so it's prefaced with an in-depth report on the department. Now, as we're going up in salary here, building is coming to a great slow up because of, for example, interest costs. And while I don't intend to stand in the way of this, and I will support this, this amounts to a position of about $124,000 a year. He's working 2.5 days a week for us. That's a pretty expensive position for a
It
town
is.
this size.
Absolutely.
And
And
so,
that's why we have them for 2 days a week. We don't.
well, it's 2.5 days a week.
Well, 2.5.
It's half-time.
Right.
Figures. I don't know about that figure.
I don't either, but,
Councilor has your hand up.
yes, Counselor. Fran, did you have a question?
Yes, so this is provided for in his contract. So this isn't personal services review or evaluation. This is a contracted line item. And because we do get, I think, adequate information, I wouldn't mind a summary such as Councilor Beasley is asking for, but this is irrelevant for cost of living. So I would just like to proceed with the motion and not complicate it.
Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that carried. Thank you. We've got a proposal here before us from, is it Jack? Jack, come on up, Jack. Yes, please, right in the hot seat.
Alan, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. Appreciate it. This kind of reminds me when I served 9 years on the advisory council to Supervisor Rex Bloomfield, North Lake Tahoe. Public meeting, sort of atmosphere. Anyway, my proposal is that we be able to use the community center for weekly cribbage meetings. I would like to do a Tuesday or Wednesday. I project it would take probably 4 hours in the evening. I don't know what all happens there in the evenings, but I'd like to provide some form of entertainment. Hand up. Here are copies of 4 tournaments that I'm putting on this year.
We can share. We can share unless you think you have enough.
Well, I actually made one for everybody, hoping that
That's very kind of you.
get out into the community and post them up on the wall somewhere, so that get more folks to come play. You notice that one of these is a memorial tournament for Steve Lewis, who was a resident here in Depoe Bay. And help me procure the building for the tournament we played there.
So I'm gonna start, just open up the floor, ask some questions for you, Jack.
Questions?
Yes, please.
I'll be glad to.
Yeah, you're not a resident of Depoe Bay.
No, I'm not,
Yeah,
but
you
I
live
brought,
in
I
Glenwood
brought my
Beach.
club roster with me.
Yeah, I see that. I've got it. Yeah, we've got all of that.
And everybody on this roster, let's say 60% live in Depoe Bay.
Right, but you're not a You're not a 501c3,
Me?
right, your organization.
No, I'm sorry.
You're not a dedicated, what am I trying to say?
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit, yeah,
Yes, we're a nonprofit business.
but you're not legally a 501c3, you're not filed with the government as a 501.
No, we don't
Okay.
have,
So, since you're in Dunedin Beach, have you pursued using their community center? in
I
Dunedin
did,
Beach?
and they're locked in on bridge. They have a wonderful bridge club there.
Every night of the week?
No, but, they, have other events and so on.
And they charge,
The problem is I have a roster of people that love to play cribbage, and we keep trying to make it work in a business or a place like that. We were at the Wing Wah, and I discovered that the lottery people don't want us there, because we conflict with the lottery. I also discovered that my grandchildren, who both play cribbage, my grandson is the national champion in the youth cribbage for his age group.
okay,
He's the best 11-year-old in the world,
wonderful.
and his sister plays as well. My son is a 4-time All-American player.
Wonderful. So my main concern is that you're gonna be using our utilities, our garbage, our whole building without, you're asking for free, right?
We could actually take up a collection of $1 per player to pay the light bill or whatever you like,
No, we have to go by our standard use fees
standard use fees.
that we have established for the use of our community center that you pay for your tournaments. Right.
So the $28.75 would apply each time. Okay, well, I hope to create something here for the entire community.
Understood, but you're using your facility, and with all of our services.
Listed, put up a security deposit when I
Right.
use the facility, and I would be glad to do that again.
Oh, yes, Fran, did you have a question? You wanna have a seat, Mr.?
Yeah, I think this is exactly, I understand the issue with not being a dedicated 501c3, but I think our policy is outdated. I think, with this new Parks Commission and having events for residents, this is exactly the type of thing that we anticipated. Build community, 60% or more. I think we need to revisit our policy, because this is exactly the type of community building, community gathering, recreational activities that I'd love to see our community center sponsor. I've always thought of book clubs and yoga, and never thought of cribbage because I don't play, but I think any chance, we're talking in the emergency management committee about building community and getting to know our neighbors. This is the type of thing I think that does exactly that. So maybe we can put this on a future agenda meeting for more discussion, because I think this deserves support. And if it doesn't see, if I don't know the fees and how restrictive they are, but this could be something that we decide that our well, I don't know, it's not transient room tax, but this is something that we might be able to put in our budget to allow for reimbursement of costs for those type of activities that build such community. Thank you.
Mayor, may I weigh in on this? Thank you. Jack, thank you for being here tonight. I want to say that that cribbage group has been a great
Could you
addition.
really speak up?
Yes, Jack, thank you for being here tonight. Your cribbage people are very nice. That's exactly, I agree with Fran, exactly what we want to see down here. And I hope that you will look at this with the good news. The good side of this is, from the memo that I have read, is that the regular rate for residents of this building is $86. And you're paying the reduced rate of just $28.75. And the reason we do that is that because we have such limited resources here, we don't have a tax base. We do get some tourist taxes and the rest of the city is operated off of fees. And I would like to show you something that, I just took this picture of our community hall not 2 days ago. And it shows what we're up against. We have a lot of use and abuse of our community hall down here. Here we have cigarettes, butts spread all over the place. Somebody has to pick that up, and we have to pay for that. This photo, it was kind of interesting, it exposed the fact that we have to paint that building. And we also have a parking lot over there. We have a $1,000 pothole, not 10 feet away from the community hall sign. So what I would ask you to do, Jack, is to appreciate that vastly reduced fee that you pay and help us with the overhead at this hall. We are going into a budget session. We have to firm up and strengthen our revenues in this town, not give more stuff away. And that's where I'm coming from, so I'm kind of behind you, Mayor, on this. And I noticed that you also are well known for picking up cigarette butts, so I just wanted to bring that forward to your
Watch that
attention.
every day, and I've just not had the time to get up and pick them all up, so.
I've now used the facility approximately 12 times, and each time I put down a security deposit. And each time the keys were returned, the security deposit was returned. And last time, we had no more smokers in Cribbage. They all gave it up or they're all dead, unfortunately. But last time, I made sure the hall was clean. I even went outside by the cigarette thing and cleaned up around there, even though we had nothing to do with that. And Mayor Short was there the last time I had. She had a meeting there on Thursday night, and we had rugs covering the floor. It was raining out. I didn't want the new hallway to get all, soggy. So we brought in our own rugs. We took care of the place. I respect property. I was a
That's
general
not the
building
issue.
contractor.
We need to have something from you, Jack, to compensate for the use of our building.
Well, depends how much money you want from us. We're all mostly senior citizens.
Right,
We're mostly Depoe Bay residents.
all right.
We,
And they understand our budgeting necessities as well.
well, to me, serving on the advisory council with the supervisor of Lake Tahoe, the most gratifying thing that happened while I served on there was we had a tremendous snowstorm, just like the one we're having right now. And we have one store. And that store, Safeway, they could not get any more food shipments in to the basin. And there was a local guy who made homemade bread. You could live off of this bread. And as a supervisor, I was able to call up Safeway and say, hey, look, put this guy's bread out there on the shelf and, keep him part of the, if we get stuck in another snowstorm like that, what's happening right now, he was the only food source in town.
Yeah.
And they gave him his spot back on the high shelf where everybody could see his bread. And that was, to me, the most gratifying thing that happened in 9 years. I carried the ball for that whole affair. But, I believe in community.
Wonderful. Okay, so you're asking though for a once a week
Yeah.
use of the facility, but you'd probably come back to us and say, I'm not gonna pay for your tournaments as well. Is that correct?
You know, we barely pay an entry fee, just enough to keep people awake.
Right, so I'm just trying to analyze the whole, scenario.
Yes. It seems like within the bounds of our current policies, we don't have a way to accept this request. But I agree with Councilor Rec that it would be nice to look at our policies and see if there is a way that we can amend them to encourage activities to happen at the community center.
Well, I thank you for that. I hope to run this by you all tonight and ask that the program not even be started until the beginning of summer. We have a place to play right now. We moved into the Mountain Joe's Coffee Company for right now. But
Okay, so that'll give us some time to reanalyze.
yeah, let's reevaluate this because
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna be 74 years old next week. And it would be great if people my age had something to do on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, we will look into this and we've got all of your information. I don't think we'll take any action on it right now this evening. And we'll get back to you and see what we can come up with.
That would be great.
Okay.
I love this community and Steve Lewis, the guy who memorialized here in our chairman, he used to call this a little bit of heaven.
It definitely is.
Yeah. I thank you for your time and I hope.
Thank you for being here, we appreciate it.
Take this into consideration. My wife isn't here tonight. She's a Harvard graduate. She runs a copy editor. She's edited, the last 7 years, she's had the top book twice.
Wonderful.
And she's
busy.
everything I do, she's behind me on. So
Okay.
again, thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing from you.
Alrighty. At our work session, I did make the proposal to turn our community hall into an emergency warning shelter. Yes, Jack?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm going on with the agenda. Did you have something else?
No,
Okay.
Look forward to more cribbage.
Yeah.
Keep on pegging. The events that happen on the weekend have been fabulous. We sell, we have a Mexican restaurant, bring over food. Everybody brings their family and participates and goes shopping and all that. It's a good thing for the community and people recognize what a beautiful place this is. So,
Alrighty. Thank you.
thanks again.
Pardon me, Mayor, we have item number 3, the Depoe Bay Chamber of Commerce request for the park and community
Oh, I'm
hall
sorry.
renovations. The executive director is dealing with some illness, so was unable to be here.
I'm sorry, I didn't see her, so I passed on, I'm sorry. Thank you, Kim, for putting that before me, I appreciate it. Okay, back to the wearing shelter. So everybody's,
I'm sorry,
Are we not ready?
you need to discuss item number 3 because they have to be able to know whether or not we're gonna give them the park and the,
oh, but she's not here.
I understand that.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna just,
So,
She's ill though. I heard that she was ill.
she is.
so we can, I just put it aside for the next council meeting.
Okay, she is, the next council meeting will be April, no, 19th. I'm jumping a month ahead.
Oh,
March 19th.
I know she's trying to set up these meetings to use the community hall. So the part of the reservation would be able to use the community hall for her meetings.
well, that's already a given,
Okay,
that's already a given, but as
Okay.
far as using the other facilities, I think we have questions.
okay. I'll tell her it was postponed
Yeah.
until the 19th.
Thank you. Alright. Alright, now can I do?
Yes.
Okay. When we had our power outage, it came to my attention that people were really cold and needed some nourishment, so we opened up the community center and it was wonderful. We had 30 people in there And we had 3 people actually wanting to spend the night, so it was a great, huge benefit. I think that would be a huge hub for our community in an emergency team if people knew that we had things available for them and for communication purposes as well. And that would be my main goal, is to be able to communicate and let people know what's going on and have a place for them to plug in their phones. So, yes.
I would like to flesh out something more about the communication, because the City Hall is actually the communication center for the EOC. So if we're going to make the comm hall for certain situations, this is part of the thing that we really should look at updating. As far as the community hall being used as a warming shelter, the only concern that I kind of have that is, what do we do with the chamber and fleet of flower stuff?
Give it back to them.
We don't have room for storage. We've already got tons of chamber. I talked to our guys and they're full up.
Those organizations should have control of their own materials.
I know that the chamber has a storage unit.
They do, actually, correct. I've heard her have to dig into it.
Yeah, so I know that they've got resources.
I think it's nice for us to be able to do it, but we're running out of space.
Yeah,
And we don't charge people don't store stuff.
it needs to go away, and it's good timing, Fleet of Flowers is gonna be down there, let them get it all out, and just don't put it back once Fleet of Flowers happens.
Do we need to give like formal notice if we
Oh,
make that
yes.
decision? Is that what you're saying?
If you make
Okay.
the decision, I would like to include to notify Fleet of Flowers and Chamber of Commerce that we would ask them to remove their stuff
By
by
a certain date.
Yes.
Okay.
Fleet of Flowers obviously after May,
Yeah.
because they're gonna need.
So can I make a motion to approve fitting the community hall as an emergency warming shelter and designating it as such?
Okay,
Can we, or I guess we could do I could ask my questions during the discussion of this.
I'll second Lindsay's motion.
it's been moved and seconded to make our community hall a small warming shelter. Is there for discussion?
Just my question is this, since we're talking about storing things there, what are we gonna do down there? We're gonna take a storage area that's used now for what? For chairs? Like I used to see chairs.
No, there's a whole separate storage unit behind the chairs.
Okay, all right.
And it's full of buckets and pruning shears and blockers for the crab feed
Okay.
and that type of thing.
Okay,
It's
I
full
see.
of all of that stuff.
So what are we gonna be putting in?
We're gonna put in sleeping bags and mattresses and exactly what we do here, because we have got spaces up to 40 people that the sheriff or the fire department have. We're gonna have cooking utensils in there, all emergency supplies, a water filtering system, all emergency supplies, so that we've got a backup system for people to go to. And we'll have a detailed list of what's in there.
Kim, I wish you'd put together a memo on this so that we have some kind of,
There is one.
operating plan.
There is
There
one,
is
one.
but it's not
46
really
of
on
52.
operating plan.
But there's a memo about it.
There is.
Page 46 of 52, page 46 and 47 of 52.
I'm on 46, right?
I would like to just make sure that everybody, this is an emergency only, and
Yeah,
that we need to
right.
decide when we would open up the emergency warming
Right.
shelter, so that we don't open it when we have an evening out, power out, we open it when there's a true emergency.
Exactly. I think we can make that as an ordinance type of thing.
It would be nice to have part of
Yeah.
the protocols for the continuity of operations plan.
Is there any other discussion?
And the motion includes directing us to notify Fleet Flowers and Chamber to ask them to remove their stuff.
Yes. Oh, what's the date, sir?
For the Fleet of Flowers?
Yes, like 60 days, 30 days,
June 1st.
30 days?
June 1st?
Well, once they take it down.
Aren't they gonna
put it
be-
in a new place?
It's really up to the council. I just wanna make sure we're being fair and reasonable.
Well, instead of putting all the stuff back in the thing
Sure.
after the event.
Do they know they're
do it
gonna
in a
have
new
to?
place.
So just, can we make it so like,
That's 90-day notice.
June 1st?
Okay,
Well, I would say it'd be the day, of the event.
after this year's event.
Yeah, exactly, don't wait a day, just the day of the event with fleet of flowers, then they're responsible for putting it somewhere
Well, no,
else.
I'd actually give them June first, because the clippers and the miscellaneous
Yeah.
stuff and this and that, and June first.
They have cleanup to do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
We'll do that for both the chamber and the
Yes.
flowers, the chamber will have, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful, I will get that.
Any other discussion?
Did we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I second.
you seconded, thank you. I'll make sure Gina has that.
Did
She
you have a
said she
comment?
had it.
Oh, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, and then we've got the, we need some discussion on the, storage cache with, up at Stonebridge, so. Did you wanna kind of address that, Kim?
I'm kind of a Debbie Downer because we've been talking within staff and there's protocols to follow with regard to placing city property on private or public property. My biggest concern is we have a verbal from HOA, but we can't work off of a verbal. We actually need to know what their requirements are. And Councilor King provided some comments and I provided some feedback on it. And one of my larger concerns is they're talking about fencing the cache within their fenced area. Where would they put it? But then they're also asking for all these signs that I've been by there and they don't have all these signs up now. One of the things I wanna make sure the city doesn't get stuck doing is paying for things because they can charge us when they've never had those signs in the first place. So we have to go through a process. We have to get something from the HOA, then we have to kind of run it through our city attorney. Then there's also a planning process. On the next planning commission meeting, Kit has prepared a memo that I will share with you on the 19th, that anytime we would do this, we would have to go through a conditional use permit program. All of this is out of the code.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our hands are tied on the way we do this, but it's not a simple matter of just saying, oh, we want a cache, we'll just put it up there. We have to have pieces in place. Sorry to go down.
No, that's good advice.
That's your job.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I can't remember, were we thinking about putting another cache, cause I remember kind of two discussions, there was one discussion about that area that kind of leads up to the forest lands from there's kind of like that triangle area, and then there was also a discussion about the area they already have, where there's like RV storage and where there's the caches already, is that the area we were?
I thought it was the area that's was the area we were talking about. Because it's already fenced, but I can't see if there's a gate on it, but it's wide open, anybody can go in and out there. Is that the location?
Well, I haven't actually seen it, but Kathy, you have, when Karen took you to see it.
No, I had to miss that one.
I drove by, cause I live there and I drove by, I didn't drive in, cause even though it's wide open, I didn't see the cache at first, but they have one of their sheds back there, I guess, the cache is on the left side tucked in the back. But from what I was provided, they're looking at us fencing it, a wood fence around the cache. And, there's just a lot of things that we just need.
So we need guidance from
We need
them.
guidance, and then you would need to decide if this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if this is the things you're willing to pay for to have done.
Yes,
Mayor, I think it's a great idea to have that as a rally point up there, but I'm kind of encouraged by this, because I still think that it's a good idea to put this stuff on city property under city control. And at least in the meantime, because I've heard that we're storing tonight, I've heard that we're storing things downstairs. Here, I saw boxes piled up the other day when I came in. So we need some storage immediately. And I would recommend that we either use the caches and put them here temporarily on city property at City Hall. And if we have to rent a controlled unit that has controlled temperature, maybe it would be in this facility over here or maybe someplace else. But I really think that this stuff should be on city property.
and it's going to be. We've got another cache down at the sewage treatment plant, the same size as the one in the parking lot.
Excellent.
That was paid with the grant funds. And so we've been waiting for staff to help us get all of that moved up here and secured.
Excellent. Glad to hear it, thank you.
Oh, Fran, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So, I was looking at the urban renewal map and Stonebridge is in the urban renewal district. I wholeheartedly agree with Rick about caches and gathering places on public property. And I'm wondering if there are any available lots, undeveloped lots, or even a lot with a home in Stonebridge that we could secure for the property for use for emergency gathering, for caches, for digging of latrines, all the stuff that we'll need in an emergency, and just stage everything up there, but we'll have a piece of property. So it would be a big lift, but again, there's probably, just a second, Lindsay. There probably is some grant money for something like this. Thank you.
Lindsay, did you?
So that little triangle property I just looked up, and it's where I was talking about, it's like where the entrance to that forest land.
Correct.
It is a triangle piece of property that is owned by Stonebridge, and there's no development on it.
Counselor Badington, may I walk over and take a look over your shoulder?
Yeah, yes, and I can take a
So let's see what you're talking about.
Now, this is up at Stonebridge?
So this is like off Whale Song.
Right by
It's
the
this.
gate.
Oh.
Like that's, and I think, isn't this the assembly area
Yeah.
that it's pointed to?
That is the exact
Oh.
area I was thinking we should
That
buy.
is, so this is owned by Stonebridge, I'll take a screenshot
That is
and send it
exactly
to
the
you.
area I thought we should buy.
Okay,
Right across from you.
So is this gonna be
Door.
visible to the public? I mean, the HOA is gonna wanna know what kind of a visual impact this is gonna have.
We would have to fence it.
We would have to fence it. We would have to.
And secure.
And we would also wanted to take into consideration the neighbors, because I've already heard that right now when there's a test or when there's a exercise, people drive all over people's yards, park in their driveways, ask to use their bathrooms. So.
What's your address?
He's got a great spot. If my spot wasn't so great, I go to his.
So what do you need from us?
Well, this would probably be on the budget, I don't know what that piece of property, someone would need to contact Stonebridge.
it sounds like that if
I would be-
Stonebridge is in the urban renewal,
That piece
should be,
is.
that should be removed.
So do we know if the property's for sale?
It's not for sale.
But that doesn't mean they wouldn't be willing to consider an offer if we reached out to them. And if we know who, I actually live there and I don't know who the chair is, but I can reach out to the chair.
His first name is Jerry.
Elliot, okay.
No, it's not
No, you
Elliot.
know, it's, Jerry, Gina Bab.
Oh, Gina, yeah.
So maybe Jeannie, I'd be happy to reach out to her and test the waters to see if there's no.
He sold me it.
They sold you a piece, okay, see, they sell.
That would be
Maybe
great.
I
A
should have
semicircle,
Yeah.
is your driveway like a semicircle or something?
Yeah.
I see it. See it.
You see how?
Yeah, it's
See
just
why
right
I-
across the street, yeah.
Just right across the street, but I think that would be actually the purpose.
So we'll just hold some meetings with the HOA and get back to everybody.
I will test the waters and then let you know
Okay.
if there's interested, and then you can.
Go from there.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Project updates, any questions on what's going on in the city and what's happening?
I have a couple of quick updates. And I'll sort of I do wanna let you know that there was a couple of complaints this last week, well, not really complaints, but some concerns. Somebody dropped off a couple of pictures of the scenic lands north of tidal rays, indicate across from Ringlaw to the sheriff, but he doesn't investigate that stuff, so that we looked at it. Kathy and I went out there, we happened to be out running around, and there are no cut trees. Now, the storm did break a tree, but it's down a cliff and it's hanging over it, and I was told today, or not today, I don't know if it was you or Al told me, but we don't maintain the cliff. The cliff goes wild, it does what it does. So the area that this person pointed out to, there were no cuts. But there was definitely a broken tree, probably from the storms. It was one of those shore pines.
Yeah.
So, and I'm told those are very fragile. So if anybody, I don't know if anybody knows about it, but in case it comes up, I wanted to let you know We didn't disregard, we didn't ignore, but there's no cuts. We also got a complaint about two things on the end of the bay. That there was an abandoned vehicle, I guess it's been there for a long time, so, it's what it
Bay
does.
Street or the Bay?
Hmm?
Bay Street or the Bay?
Bay Street.
Bay Street.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know the.
Yeah, so it's been there for apparently a long time. Nobody's really said anything about it, but now they want to, people that live there. I guess there's a trail there. I did not know it till he told me. Walks you, but, people, it's like, well, the car's at the end of the street, why do we care? Well, we care because we're supposed to enforce our code. And we shouldn't be allowing abandoned vehicles jumping up. It's our city, we wanna be proud of it.
Is that a trail or actually?
It's actually a maintained trail. I don't know who maintains it because it's private property, but I walked it and I thought it was
It's a
awesome.
Well, that's how we go to the park, remember?
But is it, my point
It's
is,
not
because
city property.
It's not city
It's
property.
private property.
is it a platted street?
It's a platted street.
But it's not
It's
ours,
also in the
it's
urban
not,
renewal
it's,
district.
yeah, but it's really neat, and if we're talking about people to get access from that area, so I'm going to address it. The other thing is one of the property owners had put a bunch of gravel in
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
street, and it's blocking stormwater and it's interfering with the flow, so I gotta send a letter out saying, well, people shouldn't put things in the streets rights away, end of the street or not, because what it does is but there's a lot of water in that portal street anyway.
The trail.
So those were kind of things that we were addressing. So the other thing I wanted to let you know is there's I thought there was 3, but there's at least 2 grants. One is really exciting, and it's a resiliency grant. And I'm gonna provide some information, but there's a good chance to get some emergency preparedness and infrastructure, like generator, the guys talked about that, what you call that, gen set.
Yeah.
So, through this grant, in fact, they have, and I'll probably mention it to the Emergency Preparedness Committee on the 11th. They have these packages that you make it easy for you to apply for them. So there's really good things there, and I think it closes the end of April, so we have some time to do that. Then there's another one that's, I just heard about today from the Oregon State Marine Board, and I just heard about it today, so I haven't done a lot of research on it, but it's called the Submerged Lands Enhancement Fund. And the main categories are activities to improve water quality, watershed enhancement and fish and wildlife habitat, removal, salvage, and disposal of derelict structures. I was thinking about fingers. Removal and disposal of marine debris. So I'm gonna ask more questions about these things, and get more details, so if there's anything, I was thinking about the harbor restoration project and the fingers and what kind of marine debris we might have from that. And any, I'm not even sure if it would include any dredge spoils, which I'm concerned, because we're gonna have to be dredging and we don't really have a place to put their stuff right now. And I'm told we can't take it out to sea, but I need to get clarification on that. Brady's told us that they have told them they can't take it out and dump it in the ocean anymore. And when we did the check dam, I understand we had a piece of property behind the park area, right? Over by the nature trail, anyway, they dumped it out there,
Way up.
We got a marine, never mind.
Yeah,
but this, when they do the harbor, it's gonna be a lot more spoils. So I'm still looking information about that, but this could be a potential, if we have to do something and they would take that, it could be a potential option for us, so. And there's one other grant, and I just can't remember what it is right now, that I thought might work. It feels like it's some kind of transportation grant. Anyway, and Kitty is working on something, I guess a few years ago, the city tried to get a grant to update the comprehensive plan. But they didn't get it, but he's looking into talking to the LCD and see what, maybe there's something we can do on that.
That'd be great.
Mhm.
Oh, I'd love that.
But they're real specific, they don't want us to do a general comprehensive plan update, they want us to look at updating something in particular. And maybe it's the housing, or maybe it's something else, so he's getting more information about that we can bring to you.
Cook Avenue, any update?
Cook Avenue, they got the water line in.
yeah, we got the water line moved over at, what is it?
Whatever that place is, but.
Yeah, the house that doesn't have a driveway,
Mhm.
they're working
Oh, yeah.
on that. Supposedly road and driveway will be here sometime this month, take care of that.
Great.
And
So-
then once that's done, I've been speaking with Paul Seitz over with the solid waste
Solid
disposal.
waste, yeah.
Because I heard at one of the managers meeting that the money that we had from the abandoned RV program was gonna go away at the end of
We
the
should
year.
use it, do we use it?
I can't use it for personal vehicles.
You can't use it for what?
Personal vehicles, I can't use it.
It's
to-
only for RVs,
Only up RV right now, but in talking to
Next, yeah.
Paul for 24,
and
25,
we're gonna
he
expand it.
thinks he's gonna be able, he said, we'll be able to help you get that property cleaned up.
Oh,
But we have the money right now that we need to use this fiscal year for the,
Only
for
for
RVs.
Right.
So we don't have any RV to get rid of.
I think there might be one.
Oh, you think there's, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a bunch of stuff.
One at the
in there.
end of Bay Street.
So one of the things that we're doing is, Brady and Paul are driving around and kind of like doing the state of the city. And what we've been noticing, and this is a big effort for us to start addressing people living in their RVs. But the problem with that is that somebody has to be either, you have to see it, or somebody has to swear out a complaint on it.
Uh-huh.
And if nobody will do, if the sheriff does not see it, I'm sicking Casey on a couple of them. But if he cannot see it and he asks about it and they say, oh, no, nobody's living in here. And if somebody swears out a complaint or says, I'm willing to stand in court and say, yes, you are.
Yep.
There's nothing they can do.
I thought we had an enforcement officer here.
I'm sorry, Counselor, I just explained the issue. Even if we have an enforcement officer, he can't do anything if people won't swear out.
Complaint.
If he can't observe it, or somebody won't swear out a complaint, there's nothing they can do.
But if he observes it,
If he observes it,
that's what I'm saying.
that's the key thing. But what happened, and this happened so many times in Millersburg, we would get reports that somebody was living in an RV.
Mhm.
We would send a deputy out, he would knock on the door, and they would say, oh, no, one guy said, it's my storage, I'm just going in and checking things.
Well,
But people would not, the people who complained about it would not go to court, would not sign a citation saying, yep, I know he's living there, even though they swore up and down he was living there.
Yeah.
So our deputies' hands were tied in Millersburg, it's the same thing here. If he can observe it, and he can get him to say, yes, I'm living in it, good.
Well, I just don't, I get it. I get that the whole point of having a code enforcement officer is to enforce the codes.
Mhm.
And it doesn't depend, it really doesn't, as far as I can tell, having looked at other municipalities, doesn't depend so much on cooperation of other people. I mean, a good enforcement officer is gonna go out and nail scoff laws and violators.
I will have Deputy Elstrom explain this to you at the next meeting, and he will tell you the same thing I will. It's not our laws are clear, it's what happens when they go to court.
Well, your enforcement officer goes to court and swears to what he's seen.
If he sees it, but if he doesn't see it, he can't swear to it. Somebody has to swear to it. That's the
Lindsay, did you
point.
have a
Somebody has
question?
to swear to it.
I did. I actually have two things, and we just kind of touched on the one. I would like to prioritize using that county money to get RV off somewhere. Okay,
I just gotta find your RV, we need.
the other thing I saw, on the Lingcod parking lot, that it says staff would like direction from council.
Yes. So what happened is, when we went, thank you, Counselor, I do wanna resolve this tonight, because the homeowner is waiting for that. When we went out there, they had expressed some concerns, and wanted to, are you familiar with the parking lot?
Yeah.
And that one side is a huge hedge. It's huge hedge. It does encroach on our property. Okay, so Paul can explain that one, because he knows about all the maintenance encroachment. In fact, part of their shed encroaches on our property.
Lingcod parking lot being which one?
Vista.
Vista Street.
Behind
Right by the
Pirate
lift
Coffee.
station.
Oh, right,
The
right,
brand new.
okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so, one of the things that he had talked about doing, and Brady had originally said we could do that, was putting a fence up in front of the shrub.
A visual barrier is what they're looking for.
Well, yeah, but if you look on his place, he's got a shrub, so he's not seeing the parking lot, it's pretty dense. But then we thought, okay, well, then it was we had a site visit, and it was like, well, do we really wanna spend the money to do this?
My biggest worry is
And then he has
for
one.
maintaining that shred, or
The
that shrub right behind
Yeah.
the fence.
That doesn't make
As it
sense.
starts growing over,
Yeah.
is it our responsibility?
Now, he said he would maintain it, but unless we get a signed agreement, we can't count on that.
Somebody sells the property.
So what's the
and then
issue?
Mhm.
Well, he wants a fence up and I need to tell him whether or not we're gonna go ahead and give him a fence. And I wanted the council to let me know whether they think we should do a fence.
Well, it sounds like though, even if we were gonna do a fence, he would have to
You'd have to
remove
remove the
his
shrub.
shrubbery.
Yeah, we'll put a
in order-
fence.
Well, we would just put it on this, up against our,
Is
You
his
wanted
shrub on our,
it-
is
Yeah.
his shrub
part of the
encroaching?
shrub is
Yeah.
on our property.
So,
But we would not, the idea was not to cut the shrub, the idea was to put the fence on the other side of the shrub. So shrub here, fence there, be right up
Oh,
against it.
no, that would reduce our property quite a
It
bit.
would reduce our property and it would, he's worried
It'd be-
about what's
it'd be
gonna
a
happen when the
maintenance
shrub
nightmare.
comes through.
We went through a conditional use permit, right, to get this approved. Were there any conditions specific to that?
I don't think there was any fencing
There was no
conditions.
conditions.
Not, no, there was not.
Okay.
But that was not one of them.
Okay, I don't think that fencing is necessary.
No.
So remind me, why is it fenced off?
it's not fenced off.
Well, there's a tape across the entrance.
Oh,
Oh, it's
across the
because we're not
entrance.
finished.
So basically what we had agreed with the neighbors is we would not open that until everything was completely finished.
I see.
So that's why that is there.
What do we have left to do?
We have left, we're just about done. We gotta get some more barrier cloth down in the front there where the sign's gonna go. Get the rock on that, and then we gotta get the, they didn't put the barrier cloth down before the
And
rock.
they gotta
got down.
smooth the rock out against the fence.
And
Is
that's
that
about
other
it.
side?
The backside.
Yeah, the backside, they got it because it looks terrible, well, it didn't look terrible, but it's all rough. They
But
got the fence up on by the Pirates Coffee, which is nice. That fence looks
I
nice.
have a question.
it's pretty much done.
Can't we get it done by, spring break's
I
coming.
would love to. Yeah.
Is that the direction you need? What direction do you need from us?
I just need you to agree when I tell him tomorrow that the council does not support putting a
No
fence.
fence, that's all you need from
That's
us?
all I need.
Okay.
I have a question. I know where the parking lot is, but how's the general public gonna know where it is? Are we gonna have a sign?
I think we'll have public parking signs up a one-on-one like we do on the other places.
Okay.
I think that's the plan, although I don't know if those signs have been ordered.
I don't order the signs, so
I don't-
I'll
I'll
have to
check.
ask.
That's a good question.
Any other questions on public works and projects? Are there any closing public comments? Anybody public up there? We do need to set, an executive session to go over the proposal from Mr. White here. Is there a time?
Without going into a lot of detail, if the council, there's some issues with whether or not the council wants to pay for that. And, I've asked our city attorney to explore other options, and these are what I'd like him to present to you.
Are you talking about an easement? Is that what you were referring to?
No, not necessarily an easement.
There was a letter distributed at the last meeting.
Yes,
That addressed it all.
and he's provided me more detail.
Oh.
He's got more to talk to you about. We've been doing some research and digging through the archives, which has been a lot of fun, learning a lot of stuff.
Should we wait until we have the survey done?
Survey, I think, was done today.
It was done today. I don't know when the report will be, but it might be. It might
He
be
said 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay, so
Okay.
it won't be ready in time for the next meeting.
It will be, okay.
But I still would like to have an executive session at the next meeting, the one I've been asked, been.
On the 19th? We don't have anything right now scheduled before the 6 PM on the 19th?
No,
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and call an executive session then. Okay, at 6 o'clock,
5
or 5 o'clock, pardon me.
You want a whole hour or 5:30?
I would at least like to start at 5 and see
5.
where we go. We may not need the full hour.
Okay,
A lot of it will depend on the discussion.
are there any council comments this evening? Fran, do you have any comments?
No.
Counselor Watson up there, Counselor One? Any comments this evening?
No, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Bedingfield, did you have any comments?
I don't have, I do just have a question and it's just scheduling. Is our first city budget meeting the 16th of April?
Let me look at the agenda.
I believe that's correct.
Okay,
That sounds right.
and that's before our council meeting, so it's like at 5 or something?
And
it on
the
the
16th
16th
is
or-
a council member meeting?
That's what I have written down, and I just wanted to verify.
What are you talking about, Lindsay? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, just the next meetings, I wanted
budget
to
meeting.
verify when's our first budget meeting?
April 16th, yes.
April 16th at,
We didn't set a time.
oh,
So is that the second?
I think that's the second council meeting of the month.
Then I probably did it on purpose to do it at 5. Oh, I'm wrong. Where's the 16th? Yeah, the 16th is the second. Yes, it is the second.
Council meeting of that
Mhm.
month, okay.
So we'd start the budget at 5? Would that be enough time?
For the first round, yes, because you don't generally dive into the budget until the second meeting.
Okay, but we have to have the testimony from the,
You have to have your community support. That's generally when you guys get your community support, and I've already gotten 2 in, so
okay,
people are on it.
okay.
So that's good, okay. Okay, thank you.
Did you
I
have
don't have,
Okay. No, Counselor?
Thank you, but no.
Okay.
that was easy.
Oh, I guess we're done now.
Oh, what about online?
Oh, yeah, I asked them first.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, we're done.
Night.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a nice meeting.
I'm sorry?
That's a nice meeting.
Yeah.